Hey guys, let's get more news about Lakers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Lakers news: Lonnie Walker-Ivey's future in jeopardy with Boston's roster decisions. Lonnie Walker IV, a former guard for the Los Angeles Lakers, has signed an Exhibit 10 contract with the Boston Celtics. While this move gives him a chance to join the Celtics, his future with the team is uncertain. According to NBA insider Shams Charania, the Celtics may have other plans with Walker as the season approaches. The Celtics are adding Lonnie Walker IV to their roster, league sources tell me, Charania wrote. Those sources say the 25-year-old guard will be brought in on an Exhibit 10 contract, which allows Boston to give Walker a bonus if he is waived after training camp and plays for the team's G League affiliate in Maine. I'm told there's a chance Walker is waived after camp to keep Boston's 15th roster spot open going into the season. Walker, who spent last season with the Brooklyn Nets, averaged 9.7 points, 2.2 rebounds, and 1.3 assists over 58 games. His shooting stats were solid, with a 42.3% field goal percentage and 38.4% from three-point range. However, the Celtics may not keep him on their roster for long. The team is coming off an NBA championship and is looking to bolster their lineup further. Financial considerations play a significant role in this decision. Keeping Walker could lead to hefty tax penalties for the Celtics. Additionally, the team is likely seeking a backup big man to support Kristaps Porzingis, who is expected to miss the start of the upcoming season. Walker has had a varied career, being drafted by the San Antonio Spurs in 2018 and later playing for the Lakers, where he made a notable impact in the playoffs. Now, as he joins his fourth NBA team, he faces the challenge of proving himself once again to secure a spot on the Celtics roster. If he doesn't impress during training camp, he may find himself looking for a new team before the season begins. How the Sparks are learning from the Fever amidst their own rebuild. Heading into Wednesday's meeting, the Sparks and Fever could hardly have been on more different trajectories. The Fever were riding in on a high after clinching the franchise's first playoff berth since 2016, less than 24 hours earlier. Winners of 4 in a row and 8 of their last 10 games, few teams in the league are playing better than Indiana. Los Angeles, meanwhile, is almost assuredly going to secure the number 1 spot in the 2025 WNBA draft lottery. With separate losing streaks of 8 and 7 games this season, the Sparks have a good claim for the worst team in the league. That wasn't the case when the two teams met barely 13 months ago. Last July, the Sparks earned a pair of wins over a Fever team that was bottoming out as the league's worst. LA, meanwhile, was the team focused on the playoffs. With the Sparks now the ones rebuilding, Indiana, in many ways, offers a blueprint of how to turn things around in the snap of a finger. Obviously, Caitlin Clark has a lot to do with that turnaround, but the roster around her was years in the making. Specifically, all 5 of Indiana's starters in Wednesday's eventual win over the Sparks were Fever draftees. For Sparks head coach Curt Miller, the draft is where any rebuild starts. I've watched teams that have built through the draft, Miller said. You watch the Aces and what they were like in San Antonio, they moved to Vegas and continue to have draft picks, continue to add pieces around those draft picks. Now you see it, in Indiana, with multiple draft picks in a row, and you still have Kelsey Mitchell when that all started and now where the Fever are. They were a team that was built through the draft. There are more similarities between the two teams than an initial glance at records might suggest. Both teams have promising young bigs in Aaliyah Boston and Cameron Brink. They both have standout veterans in Kelsey Mitchell and De'Erica Hamby. While the Fever don't have a direct comparison to Rickea Jackson, who is on her way to a first-team All-Rookie season, they did draft both Lexi Hull and Nalissa Smith, who have rounded out the starting lineup for Indiana. Because the idea of having Luka Doncic on the Lakers is not that crazy. The day The Athletic dropped a bombshell detailing Doncic's ongoing feud with members of the Mavs organization, which was angrily denied by owner Mark Cuban. The front office fired GM Donnie Nelson, and saw Rick Carlisle resign shortly thereafter. Luka Doncic soon spoke out about the GM's departure. "It's been difficult for me. I really like Donnie. I've known him since I was a child and he was the one who brought me here. It was difficult for me to see that, but I'm not the one making the decisions there." The crazy week in Dallas has naturally led to speculation about Luka's future. After being selected in this season's NBA draft, Doncic is eligible for a 5-year, 210 million Brazilian reals supermax extension. And despite all this, it is expected that Doncic will actually sign this agreement. In his interview shortly after the team's Game 7 elimination from the first round of the playoffs to the Mavs, Doncic was asked if he would sign the extension. "I think you know the answer," he said with a customary smile. Cuban will renew the front office and coaching staff as quickly as possible so that the Mavs have a normal offseason. Cuban is proud to have kept Dirk Nowitzki for 21 seasons in Dallas, and he certainly has the same mindset about keeping Luka around. In fact, on Friday morning, Cuban began his work by hiring Dirk, who has a close relationship with Luka, as a special advisor. The recent chaos didn't stop Lakers fans from filling their Twitter timelines with photos of Doncic wearing a Lakers jersey. Luka may be an extremely distant dream today, but fans can dream about the situation to their heart's content. Until Luka actually signs an extension with the Mavs, you can be sure that there are several GMs right now doing the math, wondering how they could have a player of his caliber on their team. In the same way that the Lakers benefited from AD wanting to leave the Pelicans, the same could happen with the pressure exerted by Zion's family, and this proves how young stars have enough power to go wherever they want. If Cuban is unable to give Luka a strong team capable of winning a title in the next 2 years, Doncic may consider changing the scenario. In 2 years, LeBron will be close to 39 years old. Long before that, however, Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss will be looking to put together a squad capable of winning another title and keeping LeBron's window still open. "We're going to work hard to try to keep the pieces around LeBron and AD, build scenarios around LeBron and AD so we can get another title," Pelinka said on the WOJ pod. "If you study our salary cap, we have the flexibility to say, we can add another very, very talented young man to play AD if he chooses to stay with us for another 5, 6, 7, 8 years. The challenge, as always, will be getting the commercial assets necessary to close a deal with a player of Luka Doncic's caliber. Cuban is going to trade big, especially if we consider the Lakers in this scenario, even if he fails miserably to build a title-contending team over the next 2 years. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Luka Doncic? Leave your opinion in the comments.